Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Overwatch video. So the most recent build of the PTR is up, and this actually brings most of the content that they talked about in BlizzCon. So this video is going to be a bit of a two-parter. In the first half, I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the new stuff in the menu here. I'll show you what the new arcade system is, the new skins for Sombra, all of that stuff. I'll then actually hop in and show you the Sombra abilities live, and then I'll talk about my experience, post-recorded, actually playing Sombra, what she's like, and how she fits into the games that I've played. So let's just get right into this by having a look at the arcade mode. So arcade is basically their replacement to Brawl. They realized Brawl, it's a bit shit. Not that many people play it, and there were not the incentives that, say, the Brawls have in Hearthstone. So if I head in here to arcade mode, you'll see a whole bunch of different squares here. I think they've been talking to the Windows people when it comes to the UI design. So we've got two new game types here. There's 3v3 elimination. Now this is basically a best of 5 between teams of 3, 2 teams of 3. And the whole thing about it, though, is that once you're dead, you don't respawn. So it's a very, very interesting game mode in terms of how it plays. And then we've got the 1v1 mode. This is a best of 9, so 5 wins will get you, the victory overall, where it will choose a random hero every round for the 2 players to play as, and then you'll go at it, and it's, 1v1 me Rust is basically this game mode. Pretty much made. Now, these are both happening in a new map, so Blizzard realized that the game isn't really designed for 3v3s or 1v1, so they made a smaller map. It's basically Arctic styled, it's lore-wise, where May was frozen for like a decade. It's actually pretty cool, I had a lot of fun on that map. What I'd say is that the 1v1 mode is really interesting. It creates some really fascinating mind games, and I think it really is a lot of fun. If you're doing, say, a Tracer versus Tracer, then, you're doing that, you're not focusing on anything else or worrying about anything else. It's a really pure and distilled experience that I think is quite good. We then have the 3v3 elimination. Now, it just doesn't feel like Overwatch's mechanics really work for that kind of sudden death thing. I do think it's quite fun, and it definitely is quite intense, but much like in, say, a World of Warcraft arena, as soon as one player's dead, there really is no opportunity to come back, unlike, say, a competitive search and destroy in Call of Duty or in Counter-Strike, where, the time to kill is so low that a single player with a great degree of skill can pretty much, take out the enemy team if they play perfectly. So that's what's going on there. Now, you'll probably notice this says reward on it. So with some of these game modes, and I won a mystery duel, which is actually got me a loot box. So I think that doing your first mystery duel or elimination of the week gives you a loot box for free, which is pretty sweet. And then up here, we have our weekly rewards. So if I win 3 arcade mode games, so any of these things, if I win 3, I get a loot box, 3 more, another loot box, 3 more on top of that, I'll get my final loot box, and then that resets every week. So we have all brawls. This is a 6v6 playlist, and it's basically just all of the popular brawls that used to be there, and it's a playlist of them, so you'll just choose a different one every time, a bit like, say, I don't know, like was it Rumble Call of Duty playlist, or some of those old Halo playlists that were just a little bit of everything. I think it was called Mosh Pit in Halo. So there's that. We then have Mystery Heroes. That was a super popular brawl, so they've just given it its own game type here. And then there's no limits, which basically means as many of each hero as you want. Well, that basically means right now is 6 Sombras versus 6 Sombras, and it's a complete mess, but that's pretty much what's going on with this mode. It seems like it's something they'll be able to experiment with and change as time goes on, so I'll be pretty keen to see how that goes. Overall, though, I do think it is a very good addition to the game. So, with arcade covered, let's go and have a look at the new Sombra skins. So, we will go to Hero Gallery, and then find Sombra. So, here's a normal skin. Pretty simple. We've got Cyrdo, so green one. Basically, we've just got our, boring color variants of the skin. And then we've got our 2 sort of more rare color variants, and then when we get onto the more unique skins, we have these. Overall, they're pretty cool. I don't really play Overwatch for the skins, though. So, I mean, yeah, if you're into that, I guess these are pretty nice. And it would take all day to go through just, every single voice line and stuff. And a lot of people have done that anyway. And I'm more interested in the actual gameplay. Okay, so I'm here in the practice range, and we're just going to have a quick little look at how Sombra actually plays. So first of all, here is her weapon. You'll notice that it's very hard to tap fire with it, much like with Tracer's weapons. So this is pretty much designed that it's something that you spam. Like Tracer's weapons, again, it does get very inaccurate at larger ranges, but from what I hear, it does do, its damage fall off isn't as great as with Tracer's guns. So let's just, start firing. As you can see, she does quite a lot of damage up close, but much like with Tracer, you do actually have to be aiming on target to really get that headshot multiplier. Yeah, that's what her gun's like. I'd say time to kill, little bit longer than Tracer, so she's not as quick to sort of shut you down. Let's look at our other abilities though. So I'm going to hit shift. This, after the very short animation, makes me invisible. While I'm invisible, you can see that I'm running really fast. So it's pretty cool. Now, because it takes a little bit of time to enter and exit it, it actually isn't really as OP as a lot of people had have expected with the way that her stealth works. We also have her teleporting beacon, so you throw that beacon, I hit E again, and then I go to wherever the beacon is. I can also hold down right click to hack things. I can hack players, which shuts their abilities down. Yeah, so that's pretty sweet. With the health kits though, this means that enemies can't pick up that health kit for 60 seconds, but it will respawn 3 times faster and your team can pick it up. As you can see, it takes like a second or so to actually hack something. What I can do is I can put one of those, oh, well, I'm kind of over here now, but imagine I put my teleporter beacon there, I go off, I fight for a bit, I then hit E and I teleport back right on top of a health pack, and I can pretty much rinse and repeat that. And that's kind of one of the ways that I'm really seeing this character being played quite a lot on live. And really, other than her ult, that's pretty much everything that you need to know. Her toolkit's something that I think synergizes quite well together, so I'll just kill this training bot, and now I can use her ult. Her ult basically will hack everything around her, and also will destroy all shields, so I'll hit Q, does that, and it's a line of sight based ultimate. That's pretty much what's up with Sombra. Look at her kit, and let's just talk about the actual gameplay. So from playing Sombra, the first thing that I noticed is a lot of people had hypothesized that your main strategy, or one of the main strategies, is to hack an enemy health kit, and then put your teleporter beacon there, go out, harass them, stealth in, harass them, and then whenever you get in trouble, go back to the beacon. What I actually found is that bar me doing a major mistake personally, that is an almost foolproof strategy in which you just don't die. You go in, you help your team, you get some, free kills, you head back to your thing, and you just don't die. Now that is kind of interesting. One thing that I noticed though is that her stealth isn't as overpowered as I would have initially expected. I kind of thought that it would just be the case that once you're stealthed, as soon as you click, you're able to fire, right? And then immediately unstealths you. Actually, there's a short, maybe half a second long animation, so if I am stealthed and then I hit the fire button, I won't actually fire for a little bit of time, and during that time, that's me decloaking, and once I'm decloaked, the enemy team are able to see me. This means that she's a little bit slower to play in that regard than I had actually previously expected. That was definitely interesting, which means that I'm actually not as worried about her overall as far as the gameplay effect is. I thought it would have been a little bit more OP feeling, but I don't think it is at this stage anyway. As far as her gun goes, definitely feels quite powerful. You need to be pretty decent at aiming it. I don't know, I'm not used to guns like hers. I'm used to using like single shot things. I use a lot of bolt actions in Battlefield, and I'm generally very accurate in that game. But yeah, it took just a little bit of time getting myself reacquainted with Overwatch. Certainly though, lower time to kill than with Tracer's gun, I found anyway. We'll need to see the official, like DPS numbers and things like that. Now from a 1v1 scenario, she's definitely a very interesting hero because as soon as she hacks somebody else, they can't use any of their abilities. Now, for some heroes who are really dependent on their abilities and, that area of their toolkit, that can actually really be a massive benefit in a 1v1 scenario. Now, if it's a 1v1 against, say, Roadhog, and you hack the Roadhog, sure, he can't hook you, but he can still pretty much destroy you with his weapon. So it kind of depends how strong that is on a hero versus hero basis. What is very nice, though, is when you go into a team fight and you think, right, well, I can probably hack somebody here, and you want to hack a high-value target, so maybe hacking the enemy Mercy so that you can't do a resurrection, little things like that. If you hack a Zenyatta, then he won't be able to apply a Orb of Harmony to a new target. If you hack an Ana, then she's not able to heal her team through her grenade. So her hack's actually really useful. It'll take a little bit of time just playing around with it. It actually works over a larger range than I thought it did, and you can still move while you're hacking the enemy target. So it's still something that you can do that's quite mobile. Certainly interesting though about the whole stealth angle and how that's not as powerful as I really thought that it was. Definitely you'll find that if you're in stealth and you take any amount of damage, you're dropped from stealth. So that actually is really, with the heroes in Overwatch, that's something that happens a lot, because if you've got a Tracer who knows there's probably, a Tracer that knows that you're in the rough area in front of you, she can just do a whole spread of shots and she will probably get you, which means that you're then dropped out of your stealth. Zarya can do that with her beam. So you do need to be very careful with stealth. Now when you're stealthed, you're able to run faster, and I find that that's very good. So you more, I think, want to use stealth to run around the enemy team rather than try to, you know, slink your way through a team fight or anything like that. Yeah, that's really the usage of stealth. Another thing that I found is that sometimes it's not the best idea to use your teleporter beacon right off the gate to get into, either to get into combat or to just get to the point faster. Because the way that it works is as soon as you use it, it gets a 6-second cooldown, and you might actually get to the stage where you're actually waiting a few seconds while you're sitting there on top of a hacked med kit, and you're just waiting a few seconds to reapply your teleporter thing because you've already just put it in cooldown, which sort of will make you a little bit slower getting into the fight, perhaps, but they're all just little map by map, case by case basis things. A lot of the gameplay that I ended up doing was on, I was on the King of the Hill mode anyway, so the times to get to the point were a little bit shorter. Overall, though, I found her to be a very fun hero, and what interested me quite a bit is I didn't find her to be that annoying to play against, because even when you're hacked, and this is a pretty decent move from Blizzard, but when you're hacked, you can still run, you can still jump, you can still shoot. So you can still do quite a lot, and you can still try to preserve your life and not get killed. Now, if it was something like with Anna's Sleep Dart, where you're just completely shut down once you're hacked, that would have been a worse situation because Sombra can, of course, you know, get a lot more hacks out than Anna can do with her Sleep Dart. So yeah, she wasn't that annoying to play against, and the one big worry for me is that you have the stealth character who was 100% stealth, who could just walk behind you, left click in your head, and kill you very quickly. She can't do that because as soon as she left clicks, she has to decloak, and that takes a little bit of time, and in a team fight, you know, people are moving around all the time, and basically it means that that Sombra cannot do some of the things that I was a little bit more worried about her doing. It's more that, similar to with a Tracer, she'll just appear behind you more, but not in a way that I think feels as bullshit-ish as I think I was worried about, and a few other people worried about. Could be the case that, like, I know the PTR build that I've covered today is a newer build than what was showed at BlizzCon, so maybe there have been some tweaks. I haven't played the BlizzCon build, so I'm not that sure. Overall, though, my first impressions of Anna are that I think she's extremely fun. I think her toolkit is going to be absolutely fascinating when applied to the wider game, especially her EMP and what that does. The ability to hack enemy heroes will be very cool because you can essentially, in a team fight, even if you're not using your EMP, you can shut down a core part of your enemy team's composition for that team fight if you're playing well and, you know, planning it all out quite good as Sombra. So I think that's really good as well. Overall, yeah, she's just really fun to play, really interesting. She's not as annoying to play as I thought she might have been, so overall I think she's a pretty good addition to the game. We will of course need to see how that pans out with the PTR process. Probably the next time I cover Sombra though will be in live, so we'll see what it's like then, but right now my overall thoughts with this Overwatch content is that the arcade is really good, Sombra is really fun, and it seems like it's overall a very good sort of update for Overwatch, especially with the loot box situation. I think being able to get more of those is a good thing because that's, you know, in my opinion, the loot boxes are one of the most annoying sort of freemium, it's not even freemium because you have to buy Overwatch, but it's one of the most annoying systems like that in a game. So anything that's giving me more of those and alleviating that problem, the better, I think. But yeah, ideally, I don't like loot boxes as a concept and the way that they work. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think if you checked out the PTR, but other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.